Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I Wrong? Our first post is by Beautiful Advice. Is it bad that I made my dad avoid me now, all because I don't want him slapping my butt? I, 17-year-old female, finally spoke up about how I feel about my dad slapping my butt for no reason, and when I told him how I feel, he called me cold and bitter, all because I don't want to be slapped there. And he goes and says, "Would you rather have me slap you behind your head?" And I just wanted to say, maybe just don't slap me at all for no reason, but couldn't cause it's hard to stand up to my dad, so when I did, all I did was just say, I don't like it, and then went into my room. The next hour we left to head to my grandma's house for a family get-together. I had fun, but my dad was just avoiding everyone, barely talking, and he always talks to his family. When we left to go home, my mom took me in her room and discussed what happened earlier. She wanted to make sure he didn't do anything inappropriate to my based on my actions earlier, but in reality I just don't like it when he does that. I know he's not a pervert. Can I not just say I don't want that happening to me? He's just messing around. There are many ways to mess around. Now he won't talk to me. He won't pick up his baby daughter because of what I will think, but I don't think that at all. Is it my fault? Our next post is by VCB. Am I wrong to sue a woman for the damage her child did? About 2 months ago, I, 30F, was at a festival with two of my daughters, 5 and 3, waiting in line for face painting. We were in a gravel area, and there were tons of people around. We were about 3 groups from the front. I was talking to my older daughter about what design she wanted to get, when I felt something hit me in the forehead. I kid you not, I went down and honestly don't remember much of the immediate aftermath. Turns out a young girl, I say young but she looked about 8, was throwing rocks about 5 feet away from where I was standing, and she ended up throwing one straight into my head. I don't remember being in much pain in the beginning, but I was bleeding heavily from where it cut me. The mom of the family behind us in line grabbed my girls to keep them calm, and the dad ran for one of the emergency responder stations and got 2 paramedics to come check me out. They wanted to transport me to the hospital to take care of the cut and to do a more thorough exam for a possible concussion. The dad called my husband from my phone, who came and was able to be with me when they transported me by ambulance, and his mother rode with him to take our girls home in my car. It seemed pretty quick, but probably took about 20 to 25 minutes. The mother of the child came up to me before I was taken away and said, "Oh gosh, sorry." But that was it. The child was seated and having her face painted before we even left. That, almost more than anything else, made me so mad. She was 100% old enough to know better and receive some kind of consequence. Anyway, I did end up having a concussion, but the doctor on call was able to glue my cut together, so I won't end up with a huge scar across my forehead, thank goodness. But you can imagine the bill on that visit is high, even with insurance, and aside from money, I have not been myself since it happened. I feel dizzy often, irritable, concentration issues, things that have just basically made my life really difficult and inconvenient. I was discussing it with my husband, and I want to find the woman whose child threw the rock and sue her for personal injury. I feel so wronged, mostly because of how she handled the whole thing, and if she had made any effort to apologize for real and seemed to mean it, maybe I wouldn't feel this way. But I just really do think her kid was old enough to know better, and there should be some kind of consequence for the actions. My husband doesn't necessarily think it's a bad idea, but he is super non-confrontational, and because we can afford to pay my medical bills, we should just leave them alone. I have a consultation scheduled for next week to start the process, but I just want an outside opinion on if I should sue or not. Edit. Adding info. Some have asked how I'm going to find the woman, but I already know who she is. I was telling a friend of mine what happened, and she told me she overheard a woman in her women's group at her church talking about how her daughter hit someone with a rock at the festival. She pulled her up on Facebook, and it's definitely the same woman, so she gave me her name and cell number. I haven't contacted her yet, and don't plan to until I talk to a lawyer. Our next post is by Ta BFF. Am I wrong? My friend keeps on talking about my ex in front of my fiancé. My 29M best friend Jess, 29F, keeps on mentioning my ex, 29F, in front of my fiancé, and I am thinking of cutting her off. I want to know if I am overreacting or if Jess is in the wrong. For context, Jess and I went to the same high school and the same college. We were friends in high school. However, since we both went to the same out-of-state college, we became best friends since then. We have always been there for each other during the best and worst times. However, things have always been platonic, and she is more like a big sister to me, who made sure I stay on the right track. I have only been in 2 long-term relationships so far. One was with my ex Lisa for 7 years. We met in college and dated all through our college years. Lisa and Jess also became good friends too. After college, Lisa and I just grew apart and had different goals in life. I became boring after college as I was working on my PhD while doing a full-time job. Lisa broke up with me as she wanted to party on weekends while I was home studying. I was heartbroken, but I don't think I ever blamed her or had resentment towards her, as I understood my decisions were selfish and should not hold her back from having the best life. Jess always stood by me and comforted me during that time. Jess and Lisa were good friends, and Jess always kept on telling me that Lisa loves me and will be back one day when I am ready. I foolishly held on to that hope and stayed friends with Lisa. That was until I met my fiancée Yang. After I finished my PhD, I got a nice job in a big tech company. Yang joined our team a year after me. We started going out for drinks and dinner, and we started dating seriously pretty soon. We are happy together and financially in a great place. Needless to say, I stopped talking to Lisa after I started dating Yang. I proposed to Yang a year after we started dating and got engaged last year. Jess has been acting weirdly since we got engaged. One of the first things she said to Yang after we got engaged was how I had planned the same thing for Lisa, proposing on a local hiking trail. It was a bit off-putting that she was bringing up Lisa, whom I broke up with almost 5 years ago, on such a happy occasion. However, Yang asked me to not spoil my mood, as she felt Jess was just commenting on how I had that plan in mind for years. Since then, every time we meet, Jess without fail brings up Lisa and how the things I am doing are all the things I had planned with Lisa. This happened when we bought a house, planned for vacations, etc. Jess always starts with some nostalgic story and then brings up how Lisa and I were so happy together. She is still good friends with Lisa and keeps giving me updates about Lisa and how great Lisa is doing at work when no one is asking for it. It felt like she was painting a rosy picture of Lisa to Yang and telling Yang that she would always be second to Lisa. Yang told me Jess's comments bothered her, and I also felt the same. I have brought this up with Jess many times and asked her not to do it. However, she says she will try, but since I dated Lisa for 7 years, she would be part of many stories from the past. Also, she asked me why talking about Lisa bothers me and if I still have feelings for her. I have reduced hanging out with Jess. However, she is close with my mom and is always invited to all our family parties and holidays. I talked to my mom and sister about this, and they feel I am overreacting. They feel Jess is just telling stories. And since the stories are mostly from college days and later, Lisa will be a character in the story. They also feel I should not be bothered by Jess mentioning Lisa since we broke up a long time ago. I feel that it's disrespectful to Yang, as she doesn't need to hear about all the fun Lisa and I had when we were together, and how we were planning to get married. Do you think I am in the wrong to stop here, or is Jess truly acting out of line? Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.